Hello everybody, this is Dalaine from Colorpockit, and today I wanted to do a video about grayscale coloring because sometimes people feel a little bit intimidated coloring grayscale if they haven't done it before. I know I did when I first started, but I wanted to color a whole card for you guys so you could see that it's actually very simple and easy to do. So this card is from the Wild Animals deck by Bob Giordano, and we're just going to color it start to finish so you can see how to do a grayscale card. The great thing I love about grayscale is a lot of the shading has already been done for you, so you can kind of see what the artist did and use that as a guideline for yourself. So for example, where the areas are light, I'm going to keep it light. Where the areas are darker, you can color darker. So let's get started. So what I like to use for lighter areas is either the white pencil or this one. It looks very peachy pink, but it's actually more of a tan color. And I always put the lighter color down first and color darker colors over the top, because if you try to do it the other way, coloring dark colors and then light, it does not work. So I'm going to take a look at the picture here, and this is where the artist has kept it light, so I'm going to do that too. So I take my white pencil, I'm going to go over this little cute spot right there, the edge of the ear on this cute little chimpanzee, and the interior of the ear. And let's go on the bridge of the nose, up here above the eyes, below the eyes, around there. Anywhere that the artist, has kept it very light, I'm going to do a little layer of light. Okay. So, do a little bit right there too. So then I'm going to take this peachy tan color, and then I'm going to go over, I'm going to start out, I always start out light, and you can always push darker, right? Put that into there. And just, use what the artist already gave you and add to it. So do a little light layer here. I think it'd be fun to add a little pink into the ear. So I've got my light pink, dark pink pencil. I'm going to use the light pink. And just in the corner of the ear here, I'm going to add a little bit of pink. All right, then I'm going to go back to my white and cream colored pencil and add, scrub it in with the pink to kind of blend it all together. All right, that was looking pretty good. Now, to me, I would kind of want a little bit more of a shadow. So I'm going to take my light brown, dark brown, and use the lighter brown. And just kind of pull a little bit of brown in this area. Okay, I'm just giving a little more depth, going around the edge of the ear here. And then the key, I think, to coloring, period, is just layers. So you can always go through and make things darker. I'm going to scrub a little bit here and mix this all together. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So I think I'm going to make a little bit more of this tan color here out into where it's a little bit lighter, along his little cute part line. And I'm going to go right over that white, just very, very gently. So it'll still stay light, but then I've just got a little bit of color there to add to it. Go down here a little bit. Now this area that I already put the white over, I'm going to just make tiny, tiny, very light circles. Very light. Going between the light area and the dark area. I'm just adding my preliminary layer here. I don't, you know, it's not even really very dark at all. I'm just very gently pressing. And myself, I don't really like my pencils super sharp, especially if I'm trying to do blending. So I like mine a little bit more dull to get the blending effect. If I'm trying to do something very precise, it's nice to have a sharp pencil, but for a lot of things, I don't really want my pencils very sharp. Let's get a little bit in the cheek areas here. Okay, so I don't know why, but I'm always really drawn to doing the eyes kind of first. So I'm gonna use this sort of seafoam green color. I think would be really pretty on the eyes. So I'm just where there's a thing right there. I'm gonna go kind of back and forth in a little crescent shape. Now see, because the artist has already done the shading for me, it's going to be some areas a little more light, some areas a little more dark. And so I didn't have to do anything to achieve that effect. It just looks that way automatically. So there's my eye. And I think I'll do this guy's nose just a little bit of pink too. I like to add a little bit of color pink. So I'm gonna go in right here where the nose is with just again, very light, tiny circles, tiny, tiny circles. Just add a little bit of pink to in there, maybe a tiny bit of little pink on the cheeks. Not that he's wearing makeup or anything, but just to give him a little bit of color and life. Add just a tiny bit there. All right. And then I'm gonna go back over with my cream color. I'm gonna really come under the eyes here though with the white, I think, first, because I want that to stay light. All right, back to my cream color. Again, tiny circles. Okay, I'm gonna move my pencil tray here because I keep resting my hand on it and it's very noisy. So, all right. So, before I fill this in, this is kind of how I do human skin also, so you can use this with human skin, but take your light brown, dark brown pencil and use the lightest brown. What I wanna do is just make a very, very light sort of outline here around the edge of the face. Very light. And then come out just very, very slightly. And I'm gonna use this to outline my nose a little tiny bit. And like the kind of the rings under the eyes. You can see there's some lines here, so I'm just basically going over those lines. Okay, I'm gonna, still with my light colored pencil, I'm gonna kind of outline around very, very lightly around where the eyes are too. Basically just along the edge of the face. And then I'm gonna add layers, and that's how we get kind of the depth and the expressiveness in the face. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna there, you can see the little outline of his mouth, so I'm gonna sort of take my little brown pencil and go along there too. All right, then I'm gonna grab the cream colored pencil again, and I'm gonna very, very lightly fill in the face. Now, if you remember, I put the white along the bridge of the nose, and so that should stay fairly light. Go down here along the face. I'm making very, very light circles, just so there's just a little bit of color in there. You can always add more, you can't take it away, so I'm making sure that there he is. So I have it very lightly in there. So now what I want to do is go back to that light brown that we were using. And I'm just going to go from the edge in, and again, tiny, tiny, very light circles, very light. Back and forth along the edges. What I'm doing here is I'm just giving a little bit of depth to it. So there's some light and shadow on his face. Little lines right there. I'm going to add a little more to it. Anywhere that I've already got a brown line, I'm going to very lightly run some little circles around there. That'll soften it so it's not such hard lines. Give you a little bit of depth. Yep. There we go. Okay. So now his little face is kind of done. These parts right under here where it's sort of a light gray, that to me indicates that's an area that should be light. So I'm going to take my cream colored pencil and I'm going to kind of just scrub back and forth in there and make that light. So then when I go through and add the darker color, it's already going to be taken care of. It's already going to be light. So this little stick coming out of his mouth here, I think I'm going to use the gold color for that. So there's light yellow and then the gold. Take that. Whoops. Right down there with the gold. And that's not obviously a very natural looking color. So what I'm going to do is go back in over with the lighter brown, just very lightly, and that'll give it a little depth and make it look more like maybe a piece of straw or something. But having the yellow underneath will make it stand out a little bit. All right. So as far as the little monkey, the chimpanzee himself, the parts that are really, really dark, I'm going to use the dark brown for, and then the parts that are a little lighter, I'll use a light brown. So remember, you always want to do light first. So any little areas in here that you see that are the light brown, let's go ahead and get those guys colored. I'm going to do a little bit in there, so that they will stay light. And I might want to add just a little bit of that kind of cream color in there too. Again, this is the more you have more than one color, the better as far as giving it some depth and making it look more three-dimensional. So I'm just gonna do a little bit this lighter color in here, anywhere that it sort of looks light to me. That's why the artists are so awesome, because they've already helped us out with which areas should be light and dark. Maybe just a little along the edge again to give it a little bit of depth. All right, now I'm going to take that lighter color again of brown. light in here. These are areas that I want to stay sort of light. Okay, now the darker brown, I'm gonna take, and like I said, I kind of like to do circles, although for hair, you know, straighter lines aren't too bad. And I'm just gonna color this in. Now, don't worry because this looks black. Whatever color you color over the top of it, that's the color that'll show. It'll stay dark in behind, but it won't be black. This will look brown when I'm finished. And I'm not really being super precise here or anything. To me, that's the awesome thing about Grayscale is you don't have to be super precise. I'm just coloring in large areas here. And it really looks nice, like there's, he's got the fur going right along the edge, and go ahead and go off the edges a little bit because you can see there's some very fine hairs here and his little fuzz, so that makes that show. Doing the dark here. It's gonna go a little bit with the dark into the hairline there. Here's some more. This area right here is real dark. I'm gonna go right here, back and forth. Okay. All right, any of the parts that I'm seeing that are real dark, that, you know, look black on the card, I'm coloring with this dark brown. I'm gonna go ahead and push in pretty dark. This cute little guy. So as you can see, even though it looks black, when you color it, it looks brown over the top. And you can do this with blue, like the little butterfly over here. We'll take a look at that. I'm switching to my lighter brown, and I am gonna come in over the top of that. I'm gonna add some of the lighter brown. And this area that looks sort of gray instead of black. And like I said, start out light and you can always add more pressure and more color later. Go in here where it shows a little bit of shadow. Up here. I did my dark black brown, and then I'm going to come over just a little bit with some lighter brown. Get into this part a little bit. Come across, add a little bit of dark where it's dark. Basically, I don't really want that gray to be showing when I'm done. Okay, a little bit of cute hair here on the edge. This part is the dark black, so I'm going to switch back to the darker brown. I'm going in pretty hard in this area. Okay. And then I'm going to switch back to my lighter brown and go over this lighter area. Down onto the hand. Now, see how there's these light spots here? I'm going to quick pick up my white pencil, and if I want them to stay very light, I'll put the white right over the top there. Some more white here. And then I'll come back in with my light brown, very softly along the edge of the hand. Get into this part, and I'm gonna go right over that white. So it'll still stay light, but there'll be just the lightest layer of brown over the top of it. On this little belly here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take that lighter brown and I'm gonna outline the fingers, kind of like I did on the face, so that, there we are. So we've got just the lightest little bit of outline. And some little lines kind of across the hand, like where the nails might be, the knuckles. There we go. And then I'm gonna get my cream colored pencil again and color in, since this part's lighter. And just go in little, very light, round circles. Go down the edge here. Very round, light circles. Okay. Then when I feel I have that filled in pretty well, I'm going to go back to that light brown and again do my very, very light circles along the edge, just to give it a little more depth. So just blending, I'm just blending here along the edge. Right there. Okay. And then get this cute little belly here. So the places that I want it to stay light, which, you know, is this area right in here, I'm gonna go, I don't really want it white light, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the tan color. Okay, and I'm going in fairly light, but you know, I've got a little bit of pressure. Put that right here. And I'm avoiding the areas where these leaves are, because I'm gonna want them to stand out and they're a different color. So I got my kind of light right here. And then I'll come back in with the light brown. And because it's hair, I'm going to sort of go in a back and forth motion rather than my little circles that I usually like. If I'm trying to blend, it's little circles, but if I want it to look like hair, actually that straighter lines work well. Back and forth, in and out here. And I don't have to be too precise because, like I said, the artist has already done the shading for me. Thank you so much, Bob. And I appreciate that. All right. Do a little bit down in here in different areas just to make it feel like it has a little more depth. Okay, now to make this look more blended, this is gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna take the white pencil and I'm pushing pretty darn hard, and I'm just gonna scrub over the top of this. This blends all my colors together. There we are. Again, I'm not being super precise, but this just softens everything, so it doesn't look like lines. It just looks like it's all mixed together. Do a little bit of white up here in this little underneath part too. Okay, it's good. I feel like this area needs a little more color. I'm going to add some of this green color so it's not such a sharp contrast. And then I'll go back in with my light brown, do just a little bit more. Just get along that edge. There we go. Now let's try some of these leaves down here so you can see this. So what I normally do when I'm doing a leaf is I kind of like to outline it. So I'm going to take the dark leaf green and I'm just going to go right around the edge of the leaf where you see the outline, and then over here is the next leaf. Go there, come down from the other side. Okay, we're gonna outline that. There we go. All right, now, and I can sort of see some dark areas in here, so I'm going to do them with the dark green. Again, you don't have to push super hard. You can sort of do lightly. Okay, there's my darker areas. This one's sort of blended in, so I'll just very lightly sort of shade. I just follow the shading that the artist has already done for you. All right, so now I'm going to switch to this lime green. And the areas that are really light, fill those in. This is kind of real light. Okay. But you can already see that because of the artist's shading, it sort of made it very nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the entire leaf with this lime green. And I'm not pushing really hard again, just filling it in. You can do this with different shades too. Kind of decide what you're feeling like. And you don't have to color things really realistically either. I just thought this, might be a good one to try realistically to show you, but if you want purple leaves and a blue chimpanzee, you go right ahead. I say there's no limits in coloring, just your imagination. Okay, so just doing that, you can see that, looks pretty good. But now I'm gonna go back to my darker green and I'm gonna go over some areas. I'm gonna do my tiny circles around the edge. And I'm pushing a little harder this time and I'm blending out a little farther. So this is gonna give my leaf a little more depth. And on the other side, I see these little veins here, so I'm gonna draw over them with the leaf green and then do little circles just around those veins to kind of give it some depth. All right, these little leaves here, I think they are fine to just stay light. So I'm gonna color them in with the light, the lime green here. And I don't really have to do anything because there's a little bit of shading in there already and they stand out nicely on their own. Since I didn't color these in before when I was doing the chimpanzee belly, it will stay very nice. All right. And there he is, looking cute. Okay, so let's do our butterfly. Now I'm thinking the butterfly would be very pretty. I'm gonna take this sort of royal blue here that's with the aqua blue, and so all the areas that are black, I'm gonna color them over with the blue. Okay. There's a little spots there, and I'm gonna do the body also. All right, now I think I'm gonna take the dark orange and I'm just gonna go around the edge. Okay, there's some little veins, make them dark orange in the center, back and forth. All right, and then I'm gonna take the light orange and very gently circular shading here. And there we go, we've got a pretty butterfly. Okay, let's get started on this cute little bird down here. I love this deck from Bob Giordano because it has, animals paired together that maybe, you wouldn't think of as being little friends, but it looks cute on the cards. We've got the butterfly and the bird and the little chimpanzee. So I colored the beak with the darker orange here. Nothing too, major about that. I think just to give it a little pop of color, I'm going to do this little eye area sort of in blue, in the lightest blue, to make that kind of stand out a little. And then, let's see, let's do the little feet in the dark orange also. And I'm just basically going over the lines that are already there that the artist left for us. I'm gonna do the darker parts with a little bit of that darker orange right here. And just going very, very lightly. And these real dark spots, and I'm gonna kind of dot them. And then I'm gonna switch over to this lighter orange and use that on the lighter area of the bird's kind of throat and chest area. Just a little bit. And then I think I'm going to switch to the yellow and gold pencil. I'll use the real light yellow pencil here in the lighter areas. Again, I'm not going to go over it real hard, just, you know, kind of get my base. I can always add more. And then I'm going to go in the darker shaded areas with the more gold color. And then just sort of do tiny circles to blend them together. And let's see, I think I'll use the lighter brown pencil to do the branch where the bird is sitting. Kind of follow the lines there that the artist has given us. Okay, and then the actual back of the bird here, that's, you can see it's all black, but I can make it any color I want. So I'm gonna do gray. I think it would look kind of cool gray. So I'm gonna just sort of very lightly go over the black with the gray. And the shading again will just kind of help us know where to go. All right, there's our little bird buddy. It's awful cute. Now, I'm gonna take, whoops, this pencil that has sort of the aqua green and the seafoam green and the olive green, and use the olive green on this grass down here at the bottom. This is pretty straightforward. Just gonna follow the lines that the artist gave us. And any parts that I see that look, you know, a little darker, I'm gonna push a little harder. Any parts that seem lighter, I can do kind of a lighter touch. There we go. Now all our grass is in there. And then I'm just gonna very lightly just do some circles with this color, sort of at the base. So it doesn't just look like individual blades of grass. It's gonna be more kind of blended together and softer. Now we got that area covered in. So I'm gonna go back and kind of finish the rest of these leaves. So we're sort of gonna do the same thing we did on that first one. I'm gonna outline with my leaf green. There we go. And there's kind of a vein down the center, so I'm gonna do that. That one's also dark. And then any of the areas that are real dark, just sort of fill them in with the leaf green. And I can push heavy or light, depending on what I'm looking for. A little bit right there. And that is part that's sort of shaded. Okay, now I'm gonna switch back over to my lime green and do little circles and fill in the leaf. go along the edges. I usually find it's easier to sort of outline things and then do circles in between the two outlines to sort of fill in. Then, you know, you've got kind of a little contained area that you're working on. There we go. And one thing I'm always asking myself while I'm coloring is, you know, where's the source of light? And where would the light be coming from? And so if I see a spot that I'm like, ooh, I think that would be sort of light, I might go back in with, say, the light yellow. And I'm just gonna kind of go a little bit over the top in that area, kind of light over here. Up on this other leaf we did, I'm gonna add a little bit of light right there. Again, just using more than one color on things gives it a little bit of depth and, you know, makes it look more three-dimensional, makes it look more interesting. There you go. Okay, now we'll kind of do that on the other leaves. I'm gonna go around the outside here with my darker leaf green. So I see this little light spot right there, so I'm gonna go above that and go ahead and leave it light because that'll be like a little accent area. I'm gonna come down the center of my leaf. Here's some dark areas. I'm gonna fill that in. And I'm gonna go on either side of this vein here with just that leaf green. And this one seems a little darker. But I love these grayscale cards because you don't have to be super precise and everything exact because the shading helps you. So I'm switching back to the lime green and I'm going over everything now. Doing my circles. And so I kind of look at leaves like wood, like there's a grain to the wood and there's sort of a grain to the leaf. So I kind of come from the center out with my little circles. And there we go. And I'll do the finish the other side here. Okay, now let's get that lighter yellow pencil again. And this area that was, so I said was sort of a highlight, I'm gonna do that in the light yellow. Kind of stands out up here. This is another area that seems like a highlight. And so rub a little bit in around on some of these other areas of the leaf to give us some highs and lows. There we are. All right, I'm back to my leaf green. And I'm gonna outline this little leaf. Come down the center with the vein. Outline the other side. And it's quite dark down here, so I'm going to go ahead and start little circles in the dark area with the leaf green. Work that up to some of these other areas that are dark. I'm not pushing very hard though. Area right here, sort of a shadow. All right, switch back to my lime green. Fill it in. Doing my circles. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of that yellow, the light yellow. And I'm kind of going to push hard to get a little more accent going there. Looks like a good spot right there. Okay, one more to go. Start the leaf green, down the center, other side. I'm pushing pretty hard along this vein here and bringing it out a little bit. I'm going to switch back over to my lime green and do my circles out from the center. And I'm not going to push as hard on this side because I want to add some more of that yellow And so if you push really hard and you color it in as much as it's gonna take, then you can color a lighter color over it all you want and it's not gonna show up. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now we've got the whole plant here ready to go. Let's do some of the wood, the little like log here that he's sort of on. So I'm gonna take my darker brown and outline down here. Go along the edge. And this in among our grass here. And this area is darker, so I'm gonna do my little swirls, little circles. Get that area going, this area up here by my little hand. And then I'll move it to the top. And over here to the leaf, but kind of lighter since that's a highlighted area. I'm not gonna push real hard. And there and here. Okay, so any of the areas that I see that are darker, do my little circles. I'm not pushing very hard. Now it looks like this little bird has a little leaf in his bill. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the lime green so it'll stand out if I wait until after that color's not gonna take there. So there we go. Now we can see that little, maybe he's giving that as a little gift to the chimp, I don't know. And let's see, I'll do a little bit more of the dark right here under this leaf because that sort of seems like a shadowy area to me. All right, now I'm gonna switch over to the light brown. And actually, before I do that, see how this area is real light? So in order to keep that sort of light looking, I'm gonna go ahead and use this tan color again. Again, this looks very peachy pink, but it's not, it's actually tan. I'm gonna go a little bit over that area with the tan. Anything that I want to stay light, you gotta make it light now because it won't work later. All right. So here's my light brown. I'm gonna go over this with my circles and just sort of fill everything in. And remember, you can always come back in and add more, but you can't take away. So don't go too crazy with the how hard you push right at the beginning. And Grayscale, you know, it's really fun and it's really easy. It just takes a little practice though to get used to it at first. I will say that. But you can really, really make nice looking pictures. All right, there we go. We've got that. Let's do this kind of fun vine and leaf up here. And I'm thinking just to kind of branch out a little bit, I'm gonna use this. It's kind of an aqua bluey green. And I'm gonna outline the leaves again. This will just make it stand out a little bit. I mean, you try to do everything with hyper-realism, or you can kind of try to make it interesting, so it's up to you. All right, there's my leaves right there. Here's a little one coming off this line. And let's go up here. Kind of like the vines themselves. Let's get those guys going. Kind of fun. All right, now there's kind of what looks like a little vein down the center of that one. I'll get that going. All right, and sometimes it's fun, I think, with that sort of aqua blue to use this seafoam green. like we used on the chimpanzee's eyes. And I'm gonna go, again, very lightly and in circular motion. And this is just kind of giving us a base to work off of. So you're gonna always add different colors to get some more depth and that kind of stuff. I'll go darker up here where it's dark, and then push lighter out in the main leaf area. Okay. There's these little tiny leaves right here that sort of match these other leaves down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and make them lime green too. Just, I kind of like to have consistency of the same type of leaf throughout the picture. The other thing is this brings that color into different areas of the picture. I will tell you, before I was involved in Colorpockit, I'm gonna use the dark green now and go over the vines. I was a home stager and decorator. And so one of the kind of rules of thumb when you're decorating is if you repeat a color 3 times in your room, that it's an accent color. And so I sort of use that with my coloring too. So if I use, you know, a certain color, I want to make sure I use it several times so that it's not some weird one-off just sticking out there. Do a little bit of the darker areas with this leaf green. And then what I think would be kind of cool to balance off some of this blue that we're doing, there we go, is to use that olive green again. This will kind of bring it back down so it's not so obnoxiously a weird color. And this is a warm color, and I'm mixing it with those cool colors. It kind of looks neat. It's gonna give us some three-dimensional look to it. And again, I'm kind of going with my grain, if you will, of the leaf. Okay. All right. Now these little leaves were down here. I think I'm gonna do them the olive green too, because then we'll have olive green, olive green, olive green. And actually maybe those also, just for fun. And this is pretty dark. So there's not, you know, there's not a whole lot of shading or a whole lot of this or that you need to do. You're just gonna follow the outline of the leaves and color it in. I'm pushing pretty darn hard here. Now it looks to me like there's some sort of flower or something around there. Go up here and do this. So I can pick like some fun color to put down there if I want. Again, I'm just kind of filling these babies in. Some things you need to be, you know, very subtle and a lot of gradation on, but other things, just fill it in. Okay, so what fun color should we use down here? Let's use that blue that we did on the other leaf. So I was talking about having it in 3 places, so I've got blue up here. I'm gonna go ahead and very lightly and swirly color in these sort of flat, it looks like flowers with this particular leaves, set of leaves. So I like that. Oh, it looks like there's some more down here. So let's, I don't know what this is, but we're just gonna fill it in. There's the blue part. And then I'll take my olive green again. Here's some more leaves down here. We're gonna fill in those babies. Here we are. Okay. Now, and I I think these sort of look like vines up here, and I think I'm gonna do those in the olive green also. And they're very tiny, so you want your pencil to be at least sort of sharp. And just follow the lines that the artist gave you. Yep. There we go. Some darker, some lighter. And then the rest of this to me looks like branches. So I'm gonna fill that in as if it was a branch. So I'm gonna go back to my brown pencil. I'm gonna take the darkest brown and go along the edge. And there we go. I'm gonna outline this big branch right here. There's a little one behind. And I'm gonna go around the outside here. The parts that I see that are real light, I'm gonna go ahead and leave them light, that's fine. Get this dark part down here and start filling in with my little circles with the darker brown. I'm gonna go all the way up along this edge because that seems like it would be more of a shadowy area. And here we are, going along with the brown. And just a few sort of darker areas in the middle and across. Anywhere that looks a little darker, go ahead and kind of run that dark across there. I'm gonna make this look like wood, so. All right, now I'm gonna switch to my lighter brown pencil and go over it with little circles. Little circles round and round and round, connecting the two lines that I made, the two outlines. When you do the round circles too, that is also going to make this limb look as if it's round. And that's a good thing. Okay. There we are. Now, this limb behind here, it seems like I maybe would want it to be darker. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in with the dark brown and just really push so that that is a dark, dark brown all around there. And it seems darker behind there. Okay. Now, the rest of this limb is coming down, so I'm gonna outline that. Here we go. And here we are. This one's coming down here. There. Okay. This right here. It looks like there's a little leaf kind of area right here. I'm gonna go ahead and color that in green and mix the two colors, sort of. There we go. Okay, I'm taking this darker brown here. There's one more little outline part I need. Now, again, where are my dark parts? Right here. Let's swirl that in. That whole area is kind of dark, but I'm not gonna push super hard. I'm just gonna get a little base of dark and then fill in with my lighter brown. And to make this little part stand out against this, I'm gonna just outline it with the lighter brown and fill it in with the lighter brown. So I can see the difference between those two. Now with my lighter brown, I'm gonna go in and fill in all the areas, the other areas I had. Okay, and again, this one too, since it's in front, it would be lighter. I'm gonna put the lighter brown right here. There we are. And these would probably also be lighter brown. There we go. I'm gonna go very light with these. So so that they're, you know, you can tell they're sort of part of the background rather than having them stick out. They're just very lightly filled in. I'm not gonna, you know, outline every little bit of those, just kind of like that. Okay, now, here this looks like some leaves right here, like sort of a ferny looking leaf. I think I'm gonna make that the dark green. So I'm gonna sort of just, it looks like sort of jaggedy, ferny sort of leaf. So I'm just gonna follow what the artist did, and there we go. So now it's standing out a little bit. There we are. And this area down in here, I think I'm gonna make that a, you know, a continuation of this branch. That's what it seems like to me. So I'm gonna go around here, the darker brown. And here's a dark area. Fill that in with my swirl. And then I'm gonna go back in with the lighter brown. There we go. I'm pushing a little harder here to get this to be a little darker of the light brown. Because you can get different depths just by how hard you push. Okay, so that's looking really good. And then it looks like there might be some sort of the wood coming down here a little bit. So I think I'm gonna add a little bit of brown up here for that. There we go. And I'm gonna add a little of the dark brown in there too, just to give it some variation. Okay, now for my sky, I sort of am feeling like yellow. Since remember I have this yellow here, so I'm thinking some yellow up here might be a cool idea. So what I'm gonna do is take the lighter yellow and I'm gonna fill in the areas that are not colored yet, just with a very light coat, if you will, of the yellow. And this will be sort of my base for the sky. I think it's very sunny in the jungle today. Why not, right? That. Okay. That's starting to come together and look very nice. All right, so now what do I need? To me, you know, when you've got these little sort of grayish areas, they look sort of blah, with just that light coat over. So I'm gonna take the darker gold here, and anywhere that it looks sort of gray, I'm gonna push a little harder and get some of that gold in there so it looks a little brighter. Yeah, because the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day in the jungle. Get some of that brighter yellow in there. Whoops, kind of making a mess here. Moving this around too much, hopefully. It's still in good spots, you can see. Okay, I'm liking that. There's still a little bit of something here that's green. Let's do our olive green again. And just add a little bit of that there. There we go. Okay. Get a little more olive green up there too. I think I'll just kind of swirl it in so that it's sort of background. The yellow and the green, it's just all sort of blending together, swirling together. Okay. I'm liking that. Okay. Now I'm going to go back in with the lighter yellow. Push a little harder this time and just really blend everything together. Yeah, I think the key to coloring is lots of layers. So let's move our sky over here. This little stuff coming down, I think that's gonna be the olive green too. That be fun. Okay, I like that. All right, I'm gonna go in with my light green. Light yellow. And let's just get our base layer down. Doing good here. All right, here we are, we'll go in here. There we are. Okay. All right, now I've got my light yellow. Now I'm gonna go back in with this darker yellow, and any areas that are sort of gray, I'm just gonna add a little bit of that brighter gold color to give us some depth here. Make it so it's not too flat. All right. Let's go down here in this area. My same thing, yellow. Got a little gold. It's kind of darker right there. All right, that's looking good. And now this area down here to me is sort of maybe more, it's not just the sky, although it could be, but let's see, I think that's another little area of that sort of flower. I'm gonna make some of our pretty blue in there. That looks nice. I like that little pop of blue. So we've got a little pop of blue here, we got a little pop of blue here, and we've got a little pop of blue here. So I think that's good. Let's take our yellow. Now remember I went over this with the olive green a little bit, so I'm gonna push a little harder with the yellow to get it to actually show up here. It's gonna blend really nice with that lime green. There we go. Let's get that yellow going. Okay. All right, there's that. And you know, you can really play with your backgrounds and you don't have to do the same thing in all the areas. It's up to you. All right, now here's my darker gold. And I feel like, you know, if the light was coming from this direction, it would be darker over here, lighter over here, darker over here. So I'm going to squirt pretty good with this yellow to get it to be darker. And here we are. And not all around, it doesn't have to be everywhere. But okay, I'm liking that. Now, let's add, so I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of this light brown. Again, because since the belly of the bird is yellow and gold, and this is yellow and gold, I want something to sort of break that up a little bit. So I'm just gonna rub along here very lightly. Okay, now we've got a little bit more differentiation. I need to add a little yellow here in between the leg and the stick, otherwise it looks like it's some weird part of the leg. And there we are. All right, so let's close this baby up. There. Okay, and I'm gonna do some tiny circles of this darker brown, or I mean the light brown, on the bottom of the belly. There we go. Now, you see how that looks sort of more three-dimensional that way? There we are. It looks good. I'm gonna put a little bit back here. Here. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my olive green and I'm just gonna give this one more once over to kind of fill in any areas that you didn't really get, so that it doesn't, you don't have that white showing through. We don't want that. All right, and there you have it. I'm gonna color over Bob's name here just lightly so that it blends in more with my finished product. And there you have it. There is a Grayscale image colored for you, and I hope this was really helpful, and thanks for watching.